Several seasons in, Diablo 4's endgame still feels disappointing for players like me. As a long-time fan, I generally want to enjoy this game, but the recent seasonal updates, roadmaps, and Blizzard's apparent approach to development make me question whether it is worth continuing to play. Although the game slowly becomes more polished and more engaging, it is still not enough. For a small indie company like Blizzard, it took them years to reintroduce armory, leaderboards, greater rifts aka pits with several iterations, and one so-called raid dungeon with pointless and non-exclusive rewards. And it also took them 8 seasons to implement such a small but demanding feature like teleport to a party member. Don't get me wrong, Diablo 4 is very playable and gameplay is shiny and flashy. There are plenty of activities, achievements, builds and other stuff to do. Sounds like it's more than enough to keep the players playing, but in fact all that is great and fun only for the first few runs. The more you play, the more you realize that these activities are repetitive and in most cases unrewarding. The last few seasons and the recent roadmap proves that point. Blizzard keeps utilizing the same formula for leveling and even endgame. You basically make a new character, play a few intro quests to understand seasonal mechanics, which are almost the same from season to season, and then grind reputation seasonal events to fill the board. Once you're level 60 and reach Torment difficulty, you play pits, hell tides, infernal hordes, and dungeons for resources, masterwork, and paragon. And then you farm ubers to become stronger, just to become stronger, and then you rinse and repeat all that either for fun or until you finish all of the seasonal journey tasks. Of course you can tell the same about Diablo 3. There we had bounties, Nephilim rifts, greater rifts and seasonal objectives, and that's it. But there was always a reason to play, a sense of progression. And seasonal themes were real game changers that could easily shake the meta play, the build variations, and playing in 4-man groups encouraged to experiment with classes. Seasonal content of D4 has always been a significant controversy among the player base. There's clearly a problem with it. In my opinion, even Destiny 2 has more depth and engaging seasonal content than Diablo 4. Seasons are supposed to spice up the game and bring something new to the table, but instead every 3 months we have the familiar pattern with the same flavor but in a different wrapping. This fresh content wears off within days and even hours. Stealing boss powers to unlock new buffs is kind of cool, but more of the same, and they don't improve builds significantly. Another boss grinding season, another wasted potential. Whenever a new season comes out, I'm always like mentally not ready to play this. Like, god, this is another job to take and I'm not even paid to do this. I have to do all these chores again and again to finally reach the Torment difficulty and actually play the end game. I'm not interested in leveling from scratch, seeing the same thing over and over. Some quality of life improvements surely happen from time to time, but it is not enough as the core remains the same. Recent changes have also introduced a new battle pass system known as reliquaries. Now instead of a linear battle pass with levels, Blizzard decided to split it in 4 individual pieces, which can be accessed whenever you want unless you don't have a premium. Players don't need to grind levels anymore and can purchase any skins we actually want with the special tokens, and they can carry over each season. These new tokens are given instead of battle pass levels and can be spent on any skins a player chooses. It sounds cool because in practice you no longer need to level up the entire pass to, let's say, level it up to 75 just to get a long-awaited portal or skin. Even if a player didn't buy the premium pass, their levels were saved until the end of the season and all rewards could be claimed after purchasing premium. The new system doesn't work like that. Once you've claimed all the rewards from the free section and collected 99 tokens, you start playing for nothing. The tokens simply stop accumulating, so if you want to keep playing and getting rewards, you have to buy a premium pass. This new system is perfect for Blizzard, but not the players. It is another business scam as the value of it has decreased. Sure, we now have more choices to buy Battle Pass. Before that, there was either the Premium or the Ultimate Pass. Too expensive? No problem. Here we have 4 categories and you can unlock any for Platinum and call it a day. The biggest issue here is the Platinum itself. Before that change, players could earn back a substantial portion of the currency spent on the Battle Pass. 700 Platinum to be precise. That's 70% back, and on top of that you get all the skins, emotes or town portals if you play the game, of course. Now it's 200 of free platinum. The cost of the premium pass remains the same, but Blizzard subtly made you pay more and get less. Nothing personal, just business. Let's squeeze more money instead of adding the actual content. Considering the expensive skins and passes, I will eventually run out of that currency. Microsoft Rewards also won't solve that problem, as the premium code requires at least 9k points and it takes roughly 2 to 3 months to accumulate that amount. Speaking of Microsoft points, people who manage to claim the premium key can't activate the premium token due to the recent changes in this business model. Well, clearly Blizzard or Microsoft didn't bother much to implement all that smoothly, and they just smashed the deploy button to see how it goes live. You can of course play without the cash grab battle pass, but what's the point in the game then? You'll receive almost to zero rewards or skins. Emotes, titles or emblems have also vanished from the battle pass. Maybe they will appear later, at least I hope so, but for now it is clearly a downgrade in quantity, variety and overall value. Without purchasing a battle pass, all you can do is to farm the same repetitive seasonal event to level up your powers to become stronger, and then you lose all that once season is over. Without battle pass, the seasonal content becomes extremely dull. Usually it's like this: 5 seasonal story quests, between them are reputational quests, 2 artificially stretched content, 1 new dungeon if we are lucky, and 1 repetitive event to grind for the entire season or until you burn out and quit. That's it, that's the whole season. Some seasons of course had more depth, but that's the drop in the ocean. Will we finally see some game-changing seasonal content? I don't know, something like Siege of Kiovashad with hordes of demons, Arena with all the Ubers simultaneously in one place, a heavily modified strongholds with unique rewards, unique ancient weapons that shatter after the season, or set items? Plenty of stuff can be done here to improve Diablo 4 and make it engaging, to make more players return and enjoy every minute in it, but Blizzard sees and hears nothing. It takes ages to them to implement something new, like I mentioned earlier. Blizzard is like an old man who is bogged down in bureaucracy and doesn't want to try anything really new. Okay, we are done with the battle pass system, let's move on. Difficulty requirements. They also changed that. Before that we had to complete 2 special capstone dungeons to unlock new difficulty levels, and this could be done straight from level 1 if you had another player in your group willing to help. I agree that these dungeons were kind of annoying to do for every single character, but in my opinion it was much better than what we have now. Now tournament difficulties are artificially locked and the game requires you to be level 60 and complete pit level 10. This surely makes things clear and it tells the player that tournament difficulty is not recommended for anyone who hasn't done all that. But this limitation is not very logical to the experienced player. Your character can be a Superman, one-shotting bosses, clearing dungeons in 2 minutes, or let's say you want to play with your friend on the same difficulty, but you can't play on tournament until you or your friend reaches level 60. Progressing to tournament also has some particular challenges. Casual or experienced player, you are mostly forced to use a limited set of builds suitable for that difficulty. In 90% of cases, the build you create with your own preferred set of abilities will most likely fail against an average monster. For the sake of some challenge, it became less accessible and less enjoyable for a broader audience. Uber bosses and loot system have also been updated. Previously, players would typically make a group of 4, with each person taking turns summoning the boss. This way all players could share a lot of loot, often filling almost their entire inventory in just one rotation. However, this system had its flaw. Some dishonest players could contribute no resources, simply leech the loot and then silently leave. That loophole no longer exists, and that's a good thing. Now each player must contribute their own resources to open the chest and receive rewards. Every additional players in the group also increases the drop chance. But in my humble opinion, this system just makes farming slower for everyone. It requires a lot of resources and only the person who opens the chest gets the loot. Meaning each player must spend the resources up to 4 times to fill the inventory. I don't know, maybe it's a good thing. The only advantage I see here is that we don't have leechers anymore. But I also give them credit for adding 3 more boss slayers. For Urivar, Harbinger of Hatred, and Belial, Lord of Lies. This brings me to a conclusion that Blizzard is not interested in delivering, they are interested in the revenue first. The game certainly looks and plays great, we have more and more quality of life features and challenges for every type of player, but multiple updates later we still have a short-term content that doesn't bring joy or twists. You know what you have to be doing beforehand. The same grind in a different wrapping. I'm playing this game since its release and I posted a few videos sharing my concerns, some of them are still valid to this day. I'm not really interested in posting tier lists, build guides or tips and tricks for this game because I don't want to invest my time in it and research all that stuff. It doesn't pay off, the community isn't always friendly, and the game remains controversial. I think Microsoft and Blizzard are ruining this game, prioritizing revenue first. Given how these two companies respond to players' feedback and handle problems, they are simply not interested in doing it. Until all the players leave, they won't change anything. And remember what Blizzard gave players for the 10th year anniversary of Diablo 3? Nothing. That's how they care about the franchise. And what truly amazes me is how incompetent the developers are with their own game. Instead of fixing a minor issue with the pylon, as an example, they just remove the conduit from the game entirely. Even if it's temporary, couldn't they just simply increase the damage and make it work passively without requiring skill activation, like it was in Diablo 3? They haven't been able to solve this problem for several seasons, even with the public test realms. And do I even have to mention that the wave counter simply doesn't work in Infernal Hordes? These signs and actions are heartbreaking. You might say, well, what the hell are you talking about? Just don't play this game, stop whining, uninstall and touch the grass. Here I shared a bunch of facts and ideas for the future development of D4. It is up to you to decide what to do with all that. Right now I feel hesitant to invest time and money in the upcoming seasons. For a player like me who spent years in the Diablo universe, the reasons to continue playing are now shallow. I don't see any genuine game-changing features or thrilling challenges, all I see is greediness and stagnation. Instead of enriching their games, they rebrand them to more efficient business models. In some ways I understand that, but I believe they would have earned even more if they focused on endgame content and promptly addressed players' needs. The combination of a less rewarding battle pass and uninspiring seasonal content clearly show a disconnect between the developers' intentions and the players' expectations. So in conclusion, Diablo 4 has some real problems with aggressive monetization and endgame content. The endgame is what always made Diablo great. Here, however, I barely see any team play, progression is artificially stretched, and farming is mostly aimless. I hope that at some point Diablo 4 would receive a major overhaul update so other players, including me, could finally feel the value of the endgame and have meaningful goals to fight for. That is all for now. Feel free to share your opinion in the comments below. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a nice day, stay safe, and happy farming!